Mother, tell us a story. Storytelling goes back to ancient times, long before writing was invented. But where do stories come from? Different cultures have different explanations, such as this folk tale from Africa.
Mother, tell us a story.
Manza's children said when they sat around the fire at night. Manza couldn't think of a story, however hard she thought. No one else in the village knew stories. The village where these story-seeking children lived was in Zululand in Africa. People hunted for meat or tilled the land in the village. Sometimes they fished or caught crabs. The villagers who were clever with their hands wove baskets and made wooden carvings. The cleverest of them was Zenzele, Manza's husband. He carved birds, trees, plants, flowers, and animals. However, he knew no stories. One day, Zenzele told Manza,
"Go look for stories. I will look after our home and children."
Manza thought that was a very good idea. She packed some food and kissed her children. With her basket on her head and the colorful beads on her dress swaying, Manza set out to look for stories. A hare looked at her curiously. Manza knew that the hare was a tricky fellow, but she decided to ask him if he knew any stories. You never know who can be of help. "Oh, clever hare," she said in a flattering tone. "Do you know any stories? My children want to hear stories every evening."
"Stories?"
the hare said.
"I know millions, but I have more important things to do."
So saying, he bounded off. Manza knew he was lying. He had no stories. He was a real trickster. Then Manza met Fenny the baboon and her babies. "Fenny," she called, "do you tell your children stories?"
"What are stories?"
asked Fenny.
"I'm busy keeping my babies fed and warm. I've no time for anything else."
Sighing, Manza went on. She saw an owl in a wild fig tree. "Oh, owl," she called, "do you have any stories for me to take home?" The owl was upset because her sleep had been disturbed.
"You woke me up for stories,"
she hooted.
"Humans cannot live in peace and are always looking for something."
She grumbled as she settled down and began to nod off again. Manza walked on sadly. She saw an elephant, ears flapping, as he ate bananas. "Kind elephant," she asked, "do you know any stories? My people are hungry for some tales. Where can I look for them?" The elephant felt sorry for her.
"I don't know any stories,"
he said.
"but the king of birds, the eagle, flies high in the sky and sees many things others do not."
"That is a good idea," Manza exclaimed. "Thank you." Manza saw the great fish eagle near the mouth of the Tugela river in South Africa, swooping down from the sky, talons outstretched to grab a fish. "Oh, great eagle," she called. Startled, the eagle dropped the fish he had picked up. He landed on the shore near Manza.
"What do you want?"
he asked. "Oh, great and wise eagle, Manza said flatteringly, for the eagle was a vain bird. "My people are hungry for stories, but we have none. Do you know of any that I can take back to them?"
Well,
The eagle said, feeling important.
I am wise, but I only know of things that are here on the face of the earth. There is one who knows the secrets of the deep, dark ocean. Perhaps he could help you. I will try and call him for you. Stay here and wait for me.
So Manza waited for the fish eagle to return.
Here I am.
The eagle called.
I have brought my friend, the big sea turtle. He has agreed to take you to a place where you can find stories.
The great sea turtle lifted himself out of the ocean and said in a deep voice,
"Climb on my back and hold on to my shell. I will carry you to the land of the spirit people."
Manza took hold of his shell, and they went into the depths of the sea. Manza's eyes grew rounder and rounder as they went deep into the ocean. Everything was amazing and beautiful, and unlike anything on earth. Finally, they came to the bottom of the ocean, the dwelling of the spirit people. The king and the queen sat on magnificent thrones, and their faces shone with such a light that Manza was a little shy and afraid. She bowed before them. "What do you want, woman from the dry lands?" they asked kindly. "Do you have stories that I could take home?" she asked shyly. "We have many stories," they said. "But what will you give us in exchange, Manza?" "What would you like?" Manza asked. "We would like a picture of your home and your people. It would be nice to see that place, though we can't go there. Can you bring us a picture, Manza?" "I can do that," she said. "My husband carves beautiful pictures. He will carve a lovely one for you." Manza climbed onto the turtle's shell, and he took her back to the shore. She thanked him and asked him to return at the next full moon to collect her and the picture. Then Manza went home and got Zenzele to carve her a beautiful picture which showed the forest and the river and all the animals and birds on earth. The picture also had the village and all the people in it. When Zenzele finished it, he wrapped it in a piece of cloth and tied it to Manza's back. Manza climbed onto the turtle's back, and they went to the land of the spirit people. The king and the queen of the spirit people were very happy with the picture. "For you and your people," they said, "we give the gift of stories." They handed her the largest and most beautiful shell she had ever seen. "Hold this shell to your ear to hear a tale." Back in her village, the people clamored, "Tell us a story, Manza." Manza put the shell to her ear and began, "Once upon a time." And that is how stories came to be.
Asking questions. When I ask my mom, "What's for tea?" she smiles and says,
Wait and see.
When I ask my dad what things he's done, he smiles and says,
In a minute, son.
When I ask my gran If I can watch TV, I'll think about it, she says to me. When I ask my Gramps about the good old days,
Now you're asking.
he smiles and says, if I answer the questions my teacher asks me with in a minute or wait and see, I know just what the result would be.